a lot of the people take days off after Christmas all the way to New Year's, and they take this time to really figure out what they're doing with their lives within these 5 days. Sometimes people make New Year's resolutions, New Year's plan. Some people make resolutions to clean the house, and so many things. So it's a very interesting time. And it's very interesting because I want to share with you a little bit of my meditation. I've been doing a lot of introspection, and I wanted to share some secrets with you. And the secrets are your superpowers that you have. And I want to give you the key that was given to me and that was given to my teachers. So I want to first tell you a story. And it's a story from the wisdom texts, the yoga text, and it's really beautiful stories that narrate very valuable principles that we can adopt and possibly make it applicable in our lives. So I'm going to tell you a story of a priest and a cobbler. Do you all know what a cobbler is? It's not very common nowadays to see cobblers around. But in India, they're sitting on the side of the streets and very eager to engage with you and render service. So it's a very humble job. And so this story is of a priest and a cobbler. The priest was an extremely learned, educated, very intellectual person, inspiring the world. And this cobbler, who was just a simple, humble person on the side of the street, sewing people's shoes, cleaning people's shoes, very humble, simple man. So this great sage, in yoga we study about sages. So this great sage named Narada, we have our Narada with us. So it's a story about the original Narada. And this sage Narada was passing through town, and he met the priest in town. And the priest was so excited to see him. And the priest, out of excitement, he asked Narada, Narada, where are you going? He said, I'm on my way to meet Vishnu. Vishnu is residing in the spiritual planets. He is the maintainer of the universe. So he says, I'm going to meet Vishnu. He is the Lord of my heart. And the priest was so excited. Oh, that is so nice. You are going to go meet the Lord of my heart as well. So when you're there, when you meet him, can you please do me a small favor? And Narada, the sage, replied, yes, I will be happy to do you a favor. So the priest asked Narada if he could please ask the Lord what he was doing. Simple, what are you doing? He just wanted Narada to ask Vishnu what he was doing. And Narada very happily agreed, definitely, I will ask. And as Narada walked a little further in the street, he sees the cobbler on the side of the street. And the cobbler was so happy to see Narada. Anytime someone gets to see a sage, they become very happy and joyful. So he became very joyful. And he asked Narada, he said, Narada, where are you going? Narada replied, I'm going to go meet Vishnu. He's the maintainer of the universe and he's the Lord of my heart. And the cobbler replied, he's also the Lord of my heart. But Narada, since you're going to Vaikuntha, abode of Vishnu, can you please do me a small favor? Can you please ask him and just let me know what he's doing? Sometimes someone is going somewhere, we simply want to know what the other person is doing. These are just simple, humble inquiries people make out of deep love and concern for one another. So this cobbler asks Narada, and Narada happily agrees, and he takes off. And what Narada does is he has this very powerful capability to travel from one planet to another. And his body is made out of transcendence. So it's not bound by time and it's not bound by space. It's not bound by anything. Because he's always floating in this emotion of transcendental love. And wherever he goes, what does Narada do? He always sings. He never stops singing. Only when he talks, he stops singing. Otherwise, he's always singing. There's so many songs of Narada singing. It's so beautiful. It's a universal practice. So he reaches Vaikuntha and he meets Vishnu and he inquires about Vishnu. And Vishnu was so happy to see Narada, and Narada said, my dear Lord, the priest asked me to ask you what you are doing. And Vishnu replied, please tell the priest that I'm stringing an elephant through the eye of a needle. And Narada was like, sure, this is what you want me to do. I will do that. But my Lord, the cobbler also asked me to ask you what you're doing. And please tell the cobbler that I am stringing an elephant through the eye of a needle. And so Narada was thinking, okay, this is what my Lord wants me to do. I'll do it. So he comes back with the message and he meets the Brahmana, the priest. And the priest was again so happy to see Narada. Oh, Narada, you came back. Please tell me the good news. What is my Lord doing? And Narada said, my dear priest, Vishnu is stringing an elephant through the eye of a needle. And the Brahmana started to laugh. He started to laugh. He says, Narada, are you joking? How is this possible? This is not possible. You cannot string an elephant through the eye of a needle. How is that possible? You must be joking. It's impossible to do that. And so he was trying to rationalize, how is it possible for Vishnu to do that? He couldn't wrap his head around it. Very confused. Completely illogical. So he was contemplating and all these emotions were in his mind and in his intellect. Narada kept moving and approached the cobbler. And the cobbler was so happy to see Narada, he immediately offered his respects because he knew that that sage Narada had brought him some great news from the Lord of his heart. So Narada replied to the cobbler that Vishnu told me to tell you that he was stringing an elephant through the eye of a needle. And this cobbler, who was such deeply in love with the Lord of his heart, he immediately went into spiritual ecstasy. He was just thinking, how incredible is that? My Lord, God, he can do anything he wants, even to string an elephant through the eye of a needle. And he went into a complete spiritual ecstasy. Just imagining how incredible the Lord of his heart is. I'm telling you this story because there's a very important principle in this. The cobbler is just a simple, kind, humble, sincere sage, aspiring yogi. And uh, what was his mood? What was his attitude? His attitude was simply to carry on with his spiritual practices and let the universe, let God do whatever he or she wants to do in his relationship with this cobbler. So this requires a tremendous amount of superpower. And that superpower is to be patient and sincerely execute our daily spiritual practices. Whereas, on the other hand, we have the cobbler who is intellectualizing everything. Even his sadhana, he's trying to make sense of it. It has to make sense. It has to be rational. It has to be able to calculate. But the Supreme Divine is beyond calculation. And to acknowledge that we simply have to do what is our duty, what is our dharma, and live everything else up to someone who is the creator to do whatever else needs to be done. And in that process, one must do it very patiently. So the superpower in this context is sincere, attentive execution of our sadhana with patience. Very important, with patience. And this brings me to this incredible text. There is a great author by the name of Rupa Goswami, one of the 6 sages of Vrindavan. He is considered to be the heart doctor, the spiritual heart doctor. Whenever the heart ever breaks, anything wrong with the heart, he knows how to fix that heart. And he recommends this principle of dhairya, Dhairya. Dhairya means patience. And he explains that this quality of patience is the superpower that each and every one of us is not something that you can just buy in a little bottle in the perfume store at Walmart or grocery stores. Patience is something that is so divine and that is internally accessible, and we all have access to it, but we have to make the effort to open that vault where we can have this powerful superpower of patience. And he explains this in this sacred wisdom text called Upadeshamrita. In English, when you translate it, it's called Nectar of Instructions. In text number 3, it beautifully explains this superpower. He gives 6 superpowers, but this combines with all the 6. This is the underlining thread of all the superpowers that anyone can ever have, materially or spiritually speaking. So now I want to tell you another story Am I boring you with stories? A short story. This is a story of another sage, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was the pioneer of Kirtan. Kirtan is an expression, ecstatic expression of unconditional love from the heart. So he was the pioneer of that. He's the founder of that. He's the embodiment of Kirtan. So one day he had a disciple, and his disciple name was Mukunda Datta. He had another brother named Vasudev Datta. These two brothers are like incredible students of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So one day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was meeting with all his students, and he decided to bestow upon them his compassion, his mercy, and different benedictions. And he decided to punish Mukunda, one of his students. Teachers sometimes they punish some students more than others, to teach them different lessons. So he wanted to punish Mukunda because the student Mukunda, he was presenting a theory that karma and jnana, work and knowledge, is equal to love, equal to bhakti. Now, you all can also speculate in your mind, is work and knowledge equal to love? Equal to love. And he started to dispute that, and he was presenting his teacher, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, wasn't so thrilled that he was his theory. He was saying that love is superior to everything. Love is the glue that connects everything. Love is superior to everything. And it cannot be compared with anything, because it is the emotion that transcends our material existence and connects us to the divine. And that's what bhakti is. So he wanted to chastise him. So Mukunda was not allowed to go meet his teacher because he wanted to punish him by not giving him his audience. Sometimes, when someone doesn't want to see you, sometimes it's just a special rasa, it's an exchange. Maybe they just need some extra attention, you have to do something extra, or, things like that happen. Like Brittany knows when her son is not happy with her, then Brittany has to go and make some special donuts and bring it to the room, and then the kids are like, okay, now you can come in. So this are loving exchanges that happen. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I don't want to see Mukunda. I don't want to see my disciple Mukunda. So then Mukunda said, okay, my Lord, my Guru doesn't want to see me. So then he asked one of his friends, he said, can you please ask my Guru, when will I reach enlightenment? When will I attain the highest level of spiritual elevation? How many lifetimes till I go back home, back to my eternal spiritual house in the eternal kingdom? So this friend of his went and asked Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was inside, and this question is asked, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately says, Mukunda will not reach enlightenment for 1,000,000 years. That's a heavy statement. 1,000,000 years is how long it's going to take him to reach enlightenment. If someone told me it's going to take 1,000,000 years, I would say, okay, I'm done. I don't want to practice this yoga. If this asana takes me more than 6 months to accomplish, I don't want to do this yoga anymore. Or I don't like this teacher anymore. Imagine that. His guru tells him 1 million years. And so Mukunda's friend comes and conveys that message to Mukunda. And what does Mukunda do when he gets this message? He doesn't freak out. He actually starts dancing in ecstasy. It's like, oh my God, this is so cool that I'm guaranteed enlightenment in 1 million years. I know that life is eternal. So no problem. I got all the time in the world. 1 million years is guaranteed enlightenment. It's a deal. And he started to dance in ecstasy when he got a confirmation from the lips of his spiritual master that he will reach enlightenment in 1 million years. And everyone else, all the other students are thinking, what is wrong with this guy? Why is he dancing in ecstasy? It's not like he just, got all the sweets. He's not going to get anything for 1 million years. So people couldn't figure out. And they went inside and they told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, my dear Gurudev, my dear spiritual master, we went and we told Mukunda that he will reach enlightenment in 1 million years. And this guy just went mad. He's dancing in ecstasy and he's singing and chanting and dancing. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately heart up so big. And he's go and grab that Mukunda and bring him in. And they all went outside and they grabbed Mukunda and they brought him. And Mukunda, you are going to reach enlightenment right now. And this is the story that is there in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, this great wisdom text that explains that the amount of patience that he has, the amount of humility and sincerity that he has, followed by patience, because he understands patience is not a quality in the material world. Patience is not a material quality. In its true form, patience is a spiritual quality. Because when you realize that time is eternal, your life is eternal, and our duty is simply to patiently execute our daily spiritual cultivation of our heart through the practice of our sadhana. And this is the secret. And so what happens? Because he showed patience that no problems, 1 million years, no problems. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately said, okay, you're qualified. Your consciousness has reached the pinnacle of spiritual realization. You are reaching enlightenment right now and right this minute. And this is what happens when the heart of a spiritual master, when the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is completely overwhelmed with so much love, when such consciousness is shown by the students. So this virtue of patience is a very, very powerful tool. Now I want to take you on a little bit a deeper journey as to the reality of the world. Everything that we aspire to get in this world, everything that we work towards, how much patience do we have? Imagine from Mayapur to Vrindavan, it took them 4 months to get there. When they went on a pilgrimage, they would walk and it will take them 4 months. And what has technology done? It is now you can reach in 2 hours. Imagine Christopher Columbus trying to go to India. How long would it take him on the ship? Would he make it? And now you can go from the US, from anywhere in the world to India to go to this place. It's a pilgrimage in a matter of hours. We want everything now. Our patience is limited. So we have created and devised ways to expedite the process so our needs can be met. So our impatience that we have uh, been subjected to the moment we come into this world, due to all the sensory exposures and the desires that are continuously being filling our existence. It explains in the Bhagavad Gita, the material desires are like all the rivers coming into the ocean, which is ever being filled, always being filled. That's how material desires are. And the more desires we have, the more impatient we become. And the society has become so impatient, and more impatient we become, the technology advances even faster and faster to address that impatience. You can do a little search on Google. There is a search. It says that if Amazon, the website Amazon, opened 1 second slower than it opens now, they would lose $1.5 billion. So imagine how we need everything now. Everything has to be instant. Everything has to be instantaneous. I want to tell you a small story of my journey and how I had to learn some deep lessons. So I had gone to the Vatican one time. I went by myself. I was seeking something. I wanted to see if there was more to the world than just the practice of bhakti as the only path for my heart. There's got to be more than love in this world. So I went to the Vatican and I stayed in the Vatican, and I had gone to see the Sixtine Chapel. Has anyone seen the Sixtine Chapel? Oh, Ina, amazing. If you haven't seen it, it's something to see. And I went there particularly because I had watched a movie. We were not allowed to watch a lot of movies, but we had watched a few movies. And one of those movies was a movie about Michelangelo, who was an artist. And he laid on his back for hours on end, and he hand drew the Sixtine Chapel. So the movie was called Agony and Ecstasy. So we had to watch that movie. And I really fell in love with the emotion, the personality of Michelangelo and what he created from within his heart. Imagine there's nothing. And he's just sitting there and he's drawing this incredible art. It's a masterpiece. So I wanted to see his work as one of my reasons I went to the Vatican. So when I went into the Sixtine Chapel, and I'm looking at the painting that he's done, and for my young mind, I was getting a little impatient. I was just watching and I was like, wow, this is so cool. And I almost felt like, okay, I'm done. What next? But then I kept thinking about the movie. And I kept thinking, I need to pay attention. He really, really paid attention to the detail. So I just stood there and I kept staring into the wall, into the ceiling for hours and hours and hours. Something that seemed very passive, passivity, became an activity in my head. I could really, really imagine the incredible emotions and the devotion and the love that he was pouring out of his heart. I was completely, it wasn't because at my first thought was like, this is it, because that's what I saw with my eyes. But I patiently stayed there and stared into the art and kept looking through the art. And then I could see something very deep. So what was that? It was something that I didn't have. I didn't have patience, but I chose patience to understand. And because of my patience, I was able to understand the depth a little bit deeper as to the meaning of this art. So, this patience is something that I had to really, really tap into in order to see some beauty in this world. So it explains, the yogis explain that the speed of reality is being patient with divine timing. Because everyone has different realities in this world. But if you really want to understand what is divine reality, then you have to open this vault and practice patience. Because patience helps you to face the truth. You can't just see the truth. The truth is not seen with the eyes, not heard with the ears, not smelled with the nose, not touched, not taste. Patience is a virtue that enables the heart to open so you can actually see the truth. For example, think about a project that you want to do. Read a book. If you want to read a book, it takes patience. I know that at one time I used to read a lot of books. Now when I see a book, I have to think, oh my God, that's going to take me a week or that's going to take me 5 days. Do I have time? And I start doing calculations and I don't end up reading. For example, you go to your house and say, your kitchen is filled with dishes. Just by looking at the dishes, a pile of dishes for a week, it can be very scary. It's too much. I just want to leave it there and wait for another week till I have no dishes to cook with, and I'll figure it out, and then maybe I'll just go eat outside and just I don't know if you have ever done this, that you just leave the dishes because it's too frightening, and but the yogic process is if you just stay with it, if you just stand there and just stare at the dishes, and you just be patient, patiently stare at the dishes will get done. Because you will actually eventually get it done. So I know Srila Prabhupada makes a point about patience. He said that if we want a child, say, a man decides or a woman decides that I want to have a baby. Just because you want to have a baby, are you going to be able to have a baby right there and right then? No. You have to be patient, and eventually you will have a child. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who is another great sage, he explains that this practice of spiritual patience in your practice of daily sadhana, your bhakti practices, is like a tree. When you plant a tree, you have to plant the tree and give it time. And eventually the tree will grow and will bear flowers and fruits. You cannot just plant a tree and okay, here's my peaches. I just planted a peach tree. Now I'm gonna have peaches. No, it takes time. So similarly, this practice of patience in spiritual life is extremely critical, because in our life, we think that if we just do sadhana for 3 days, then we're going to reach enlightenment, or we're going to have divine experiences and miracles will start to happen. Just because we did sadhana for 5 days or 1 week or a month or 2 years. That's what we think. And then we become impatient and then we start giving up practicing. We stop doing yoga because, It's not working out for me. So we have this habit of giving up so easily. It's because we have not accessed our superpower. Anyone and everyone that you know, that you read about, that has created anything incredible or is known for anything incredible, they only have reached that space, the pinnacle of their success in material world or in spiritual life. The secret is that they were patient. They were consistent, enthusiastic, and patient. And patience was the real key. Is the real key. Every philosopher will tell you that. Every inventor will tell you that. Every single sage will tell you that. It is the secret to have any success in life in anything. So I want to leave you with 3 practical steps on how to practice patience. First one is to realize that maybe you don't know everything. And it's okay to not know everything. It's okay to not have solutions. It's okay to not have answers. So an acceptance of that. And you maintain your sadhana, accepting that whatever you're meant to experience, whatever knowledge you're meant to have, it'll come in the course of time. That you may not have all the answers. When someone asks you, why are you doing this yoga asana? Why are you doing pranayama? You don't really have to know all the answers as to why you do it and how it works and all the deep intricacies of that. So an acceptance of not knowing is step 1. What does that mean? That means that you're relinquishing control and letting a higher controller do its thing. It's very hard in this world to let go of control. And that's why we become impatient. Because we want to control. We want to control time. We want to control output. We want to control ourselves. We want to control people around us. We want to control our environment. We want to control society. We want to control the planet. We want to control. And because of that, we have impatience. Because we want to become God. And so the step 1 is an acceptance of not having all the answers, not knowing everything, and that it's okay if I don't have control. Okay, step 2 is that in life, when we are going full throttle, full speed in one direction, full force, sometimes the machine can break down. So it's okay to give the machine a little break, to slow down the pace. So for example, you're doing 12 hours of sadhana every day. It's okay if one day you only do 6 hours of sadhana. It's okay to do 2 hours of sadhana. So important to pace yourself by pausing. And the final step, the third step, is to understand that in order to be patient, you have to do something. That means you have to be active. You have to take a step. You cannot just lay in your bed thinking that you're going to reach enlightenment. I'm just going to sit on my couch and I'm going to get 6 packs. I'm going to get healthy. It doesn't quite work like that. So that means that we have to experience patience. It'll give us an opportunity to open the vault of patience, but through action. Action means that we must actively engage in our daily sadhana, our seva, and our sangha. We often talk about this three tracks, or three legs of the tripod: seva, sangha, and sadhana. Those are all action. Love is an action. Love is not passive. So, I want to leave you with this one instruction that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this great teacher, gave this young boy named Raghunath Das. Raghunath Das, he went to visit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, went to his house, and this little boy was so happy to see him. And so much purity was there in this boy's heart. And he says, I just want to go with you now. I just want to travel with you now. I just want to start practicing spiritual life right now, and right now, and right now. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as a great teacher, what did he say? Sthane sthitam. You just be where you are now and engage with the material world, and your time will come. But what was the point? Be patient. And you just go through life and be patient, and your time will come. So another incident is there with the story of Haridas Thakur, another great sage. When one prostitute came to him and she wanted to be with him, he said, yes, no problem, but please be patient with me. I still have to do my sadhana. Because he was doing sadhana for 18 hours a day. And then the rest of the time he had to take care of his body. And so he told her to be patient, and she just sat there being patient. And just being patient with Haridas Thakur, and by the sheer power of his purity, her heart completely transformed through association. So the real secret of success in the material world and in the spiritual world, in any aspect of life, is to practice patience. And this is called dharya in Sanskrit. And this is the secret to our superpowers. So you can try. Parents, when you're raising your children, you want them to do things at a certain pace. It's a big test for parents. You want them to do certain thing at a certain pace, and there's a huge gap between where they're at and where you want them to be. And that's where the frustration is. And you'll notice that in every aspect of your life. You want to get something, but you want it yesterday, but you don't realize there is a process. And that process is the process of patience. And that is where the secret is. That is where our superpowers are. So thank you so much. I've taken all of your time. Anybody would like to share anything or have any questions? Okay. Any reflections anyone wants to share? Linda, you want to share any reflections on patience? Okay. Okay. Well, I ranted a long time today. I was thinking I should keep it short, but our time is up. So anyway, thank you so much for your patience with me. I really, really appreciate. And please continue to be patient with me, and more importantly, be patient with yourself, and be very, very, very steady in your daily spiritual practices. And you can watch your superpowers come out from the deep vaults of your heart that's been waiting to give you access to your divine powers. So thank you so much. Namaste, beautiful souls.
Thank you.
Namaste.